Hey Canucks fans, hope you're well on this Thursday afternoon. The Vancouver Canucks have named their assistant coaches who will be working with rookie head coach Adam Foote. So we'll talk about them, their pedigree, what it might mean for the team, and we'll also talk about the coaches who are leaving the organization. But first and foremost, happy 56th birthday to Hall of Fame member Shannon Hollingworth. I hope you have a great day, Shannon, a day that you deserve. All the best to you. Thankful for you and your friendship, and thanks for joining me on my live stream last night. It was a lot of fun. I know the community had a great time seeing you and hearing from you as we ushered in your 56th birthday. So once again, happy birthday, Shannon. All right, the Vancouver Canucks, they name Kevin Dean, Scott Young, and Brett Mclean, all three former NHLers, all three going to be assistant coaches now working with Adam Foote. We mentioned Kevin Dean's name earlier in the week when Thomas Drance reported on him, and also reported that they'll probably announce Kevin Dean officially when they announce the rest of the coaching staff, and that's indeed what the Canucks did today. So let's start with Kevin Dean. He comes to us from the Chicago Blackhawks, did 3 years there as an assistant coach. Prior to that, did 5 years with the Boston Bruins. He was also an assistant coach with the Team USA that won the World Hockey Championships last week, and that was with Connor Garland and Drew O'Connor on that team. 19 seasons coaching, and he also played in 7 seasons in the NHL, drafted by the Devils way back in '87, won a Stanley Cup with the Devils in '93-'94, and he had 55 points in 331 games. So not a big point getter. He was a left shot defenseman, a third pairing guy. 7 goals, 48 assists, 55 points in 331 games, split between the Devils, Atlanta Thrashers, Dallas Stars, and Chicago Blackhawks. So that is a bit about Kevin Dean. By the way, I'm just reading from the Canucks press release that I will link in the description. Brett Mclean, last 2 years, he's been the head coach of the Minnesota Wild affiliate, and prior to that, he did 3 years as assistant coach for the Minnesota Wild. He has played professionally as a forward for 18 seasons. Again, this is Brett Mclean, and he was selected by the Dallas Stars, 9th round, 242nd overall, way back in 1997. So he's a little bit younger than Kevin Dean. And he had 162 points, 56 goals, 106 assists, 162 in 385 career games with the Blackhawks, Avalanche, and Panthers. So whereas Kevin Dean is 56 years old, Brett Mclean is only 46 years old. That makes sense. He was drafted 10 years after Kevin Dean. And yeah, you could say, looking at his numbers, not bad, 162 and 385. So looks like a middle six, more of a bottom six forward. And but yeah, he had a 104-point season with the Kelowna Rockets. Granted, that was 30 years ago, but still, Brett Mclean does have some offensive pedigree to go with him. Originally from Comox, BC, which is pretty cool. And then Scott Young is the most prolific offensive player of these three, and he was born, so he's 57, so he's very close to Kevin Dean's age, and sure enough, he was drafted 1 year earlier than Kevin Dean in 1986. First rounder, Scott Young was a first rounder, 11th overall by the now defunct, well, at least in Carolina, the Hartford Whalers. So, Scott Young, he's actually been with the Vancouver Canucks for the past 3 seasons as director of player personnel. So he obviously knows a lot about the team, a lot about the players, both in Vancouver and in Abbotsford. And prior to that, he was with the Pittsburgh Penguin organization. And he's a 2-time Stanley Cup champion, 1991 Pittsburgh, 1996 Colorado. And he played 1,200 career games with Hartford, Pittsburgh, Quebec, Colorado, Anaheim, St. Louis, and Dallas. He had 756 points, including 342 goals. So 342 goals, 414 assists, 756 points in his career in 1,200 career games. So more than a point per game player. So he was a middle six player when he played. And I do remember Scott Young when he played. So he's a right winger. So he was a middle six right winger. And he had a really good season, obviously, carving out almost 1,200 games in the NHL. So that's a bit about these 3 guys. Again, you can read more on the Canucks website, but it's Kevin Dean, it's Brett Mclean, it's Scott Young joining Adam Foote behind the bench. That means some people had to leave. So assistant coach Yogi, I got to remember how to say this, Yogi Savkovsky, defensive development coach Sergei Gonchar, and video coach Dylan Crawford are not returning to the team. So we knew about Yogi. We had heard that earlier today or yesterday, maybe going with Rick Tocchet to Philly. And then, with the whole, I think with Adam Foote being named head coach, Gonchar wasn't around as much. He was kind of in and out and doing a lot of his work remotely. So Gonchar is also going. And then video coach Dylan Crawford. But they've obviously added these 3 guys, and they've made a couple shifts internally. So this is what the Canucks coaching staff looks like for this upcoming season. Head coach, Adam Foote. Assistant coaches, the 3 guys we just named, Kevin Dean, Brent Mclean, Scott Young. Marco Terranius remains as the goaltending coach, and Ian Beckenstein is now assistant video coach. So I guess he'll be taking over what Dylan Crawford was doing, likely not going to name a replacement for Dylan Crawford. And then you still have Jason Krog as the skills and skating coach, and you have Henrik and Daniel Sedin as player development coaches. So that is the lineup for this year. I don't think people are too torn up about Yogi leaving, given that he helped run a power play that I think had potential to do a lot more. So I'm not saying it's all Yogi's fault, but a lot of people aren't too upset about that. And then Sergei Gonchar was more, I'm sure he was very worthwhile and very helpful, but maybe with Adam Foote, I wouldn't say it's repetition, but you had 2 kind of really good NHL defensemen, veteran defensemen. Maybe they didn't see a need for him. And then, by the way, because Kevin Dean was a defenseman as well. So now you have Foote and Dean as former defensemen, both behind the bench. So that might be enough in terms of the defensive side. And then, of course, video coach Dylan Crawford. Now, I think it took me 6 minutes to get to this point, but I think the main thing when you look at this group is that there's no experience when it comes to head coaching in the NHL. Now, for some, that would be a big concern because they don't know the rigors of the game. They know systems, but they know how to coach. They've all ex-players. They've all coached at different levels, but they haven't coached in the NHL. So are there nuances when it comes to strategy, when it comes to personnel, when it comes to just little ways that you can manipulate a game and you can change tactically in the middle of a game? We're going to find out pretty quick, because for everyone that says, well, this is kind of concerning that there's no NHL experience behind the bench, another person might say, that's great. Enough of this retread of former coaches bouncing from franchise to franchise. We need new look. We need new energy. We need a new attitude, new strategies, new systems, whatever it may be. So I think that's aside from the actual people that are, and we got to remember these are people, so we want to respect those that are leaving. We want to have high hopes for the ones that are coming in. But when it comes to the systems, when it comes to the actual how they're going to coach, and most importantly, the success of this team, the fundamental question from me to you right now is, does the lack of head coaching experience in the NHL, is that a concern for you, or is that an opportunity for you? And maybe you're just going to say a bit of column A, column B, but I'm really curious to know in the comments. I would love to hear from you guys. Does this lack of NHL experience concern you? Now, when we talk about the coaching, we keep talking about how we think the goaltending, the defense are pretty solid. They're going to have to get some more personnel up front. But in terms of actual play style too, can they go a bit more run and gun? Can they open up a little bit? Can they kind of do what Florida does? So they play very responsibly defensively, but they're always on the attack. Quick transition game. We will see. Scott Young, an offensive player. Brent Mclean had some offensive capability for sure. And then, of course, you have Kevin Dean, defenseman, and Adam Foote, defenseman as well. So a nice little mix behind the bench. We will see what it means when it comes to the product on the ice. But I guess that's my biggest question to you is, how concerned are you that this collective group has no NHL head coaching experience? Let me know what you think in the comments below. I love to read, react, and reply. Shout out to my sponsors, Van City Experts Real Estate, Coach Patrik, Weight Loss Coach. Thank you, legendary Lucas Gates, legendary Line Change, and legendary Carol Bovelander, legendary Swervin Irvin, and legendary Andrew Chang. And thanks to all of you Hall of Fame franchise members as well. On your way out, you can subscribe, you can like the video, you can leave a donation, a tip to help me out. But most importantly, let me know in the comments below, how concerned are you that this group has no collective and individual NHL head coaching experience? All of them have been assistant coaches in one way, shape, or form. Happy birthday, Shannon Hollingworth. No stream tonight. I'm off to Speakeasy, Hidden Wonders, Illusionist show. I can't wait. And maybe they'll make me disappear, just like they did with some of the Canucks coaches. Just kidding. Stay safe, stay healthy. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other. God bless, and go Canucks go.